we get to discuss some of the news making the rounds across several newspaper platforms. Welcome. This is the Front Page Review. My name is Simeon Sunday.
Good morning to you. My name is Gesire Agua. You're welcome on board. It's the last day of January. How excited are you? I'm really excited, Simeon.
I know you are. You have to be very excited. If you're not excited, I'll just have to, call on the doctors, let them check on you properly to know why you're not.
It's been a long January,
because you've been talking about the end of January for over 6 months now. And it's amazing that January has finally come to an end. In fact, it hasn't come to an end yet. A few more hours before the end of January.
Oh, it's a fence.
Yes.
Please.
No, it hasn't yet. We still have about 15 more than 15 hours or, before the end of January. But still, we're excited about the end of the month. And we hope that the new month, talking about February, will bring you love, since it is the month of love. Anyway, what do you have for us this morning?
All right. So, just introing before we get down to the headlines. Don't forget, this is Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Looking at this particular story, the Namibian president informed his citizens of his medical trip to the US. You have to also ask, why is it that Nigerian presidents hide their own? Why? Why do we have a situation where they just hide it and then shroud it in secrecy and say, oh, we're doing this, we're going to see this person, oh, we're on a courtesy visit to this person, and meanwhile you have some health issue or the other? Do you think the Nigerians we are so bad that we won't sympathize with you or hope for your good health? Are we witches?
Anyway, looking at the history of Nigeria, most of the presidents we've had, I think one of the only few presidents in the country that did not even go on, what I would call medical tourism was the former president Olusegun Obasanjo.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we heard of such during his 8-year tenure from 1990 to when he left office. And also good luck. We didn't hear so much about good luck, but what we heard about his predecessor, talking about the late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who died. May his soul keep resting in perfect peace. But talking about why our presidents who have we've seen a few of them, starting from Umaru down to our former president Muhammadu Buhari, who went for months and we didn't get to hear about him. And also we've heard similar case with our current president as well, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You wouldn't say they do not inform Nigerians. They do.
Based on?
Yes, they do. Most times, you wouldn't hear them come on national TV and call for an official broadcast now to tell you that, oh, I am sick, oh, I need to take sick leave, or I need to go abroad for medical treatment. I'll be back in so period of time. Most times, we see our presidents go on, medical tourism for health check on the sidelines of attending, certain forums. In the international space. Some of them, it might be in the sidelines of the economic summit. After that, you hear their spokesperson tell us that, from the sideline of the summit, since it's happening in UK or in so country, the president will also stop by the hospital for routine medical checkup. I don't think it's good. It helps with transparency, and in a way, it helps us also sympathize with our president, knowing that yes, he's also human. You know
this thing where Nigerians say, they hide good news. They hide, pregnancy. Some people hide it for fear of someone else jinxing it or using juju to do them strong thing. Could this be another situation where they're like, okay, if we tell them, if we talk about it, maybe something bad is going to happen? Is that also a situation like that?
In Nigeria, politics is a very let's call a spade. Let's not try to paint it in a kind of way. In Nigeria, we've seen politics to be so dirty. And of course, immediately you're stepping out, there are a lot of people, hundreds of people, even waiting for you to relinquish your position. So they take over almost immediately. Even as the president is even around, he's alive, he's well, he's doing his duty. We've seen some presidential candidates going about moving from place to place, that a lot of Nigerians have actually felt the president himself should be the one going there doing all these courtesy calls and courtesy visits. This is to show you that there are people who are waiting and willing to even take your position. And maybe in that case, it's quite sensitive. That's why the president will not reveal certain information like that. If he's going to travel on medical tourism, he'll just basically tell you,
well, if you're using Nigerians' monies, then they deserve to know. That's just it. But hey, let's check out a couple of headlines. We're live on YouTube, by the way. It is at Voice of the People Abuja. You can join us. Leave a comment in the comment section. Live on YouTube, Voice of the People Abuja. Join us and leave a comment in the comment section. If you've got questions, if you've got whatever it is, just go ahead and let us know about that. We also on WhatsApp.
And on WhatsApp, it is 0700 010 961 961. Hit us up on WhatsApp. You can also send a voice note. We can play it and, get to listen to it. 0700 010 961 961. It is also our call number, so feel free to join in on the conversation as well. And now let's get straight to the headline for today. 7:31. We'll try as much as possible to get across to El-Rufai Oseni. Let's kick start with him this morning. But before we get him on board, let's talk about the lead story on the Punch newspaper for today. And of course, it is touching on insecurity and the kidnapping epidemic in the country at the moment. And according to the headline on the Punch, it says kidnapping epidemic. Abductors demand 100 million naira for Ekiti school children teachers. Kidnapping epidemic. Abductors demand 100 million naira for Ekiti school children teachers. That is the headline on the Punch for today. And now to the details, which says kidnappers of 5 pupils of Apostolic Faith Group of Schools in Ekiti and 4 staff members have demanded 100 million naira ransom for the release of the 9 victims who were taken away on Monday. And the principal of the secondary section of the school, Boje Olanireti, confirmed the ransom demand in an interview with The Punch on Tuesday. And of course, the abduction epidemic has continued to defy the efforts of the security agencies as cases of kidnappings were being recorded in various parts of the country daily. And on Monday, we saw gunmen killing 2 Ekiti monarchs, which we'll also talk about, on a separate headline this morning right here on the show. And of course, the abduction of the school children and 4 staff members occurred when the school bus conveying 25 pupils home after school hours was waylaid by the gunmen in the Amure community in Ekiti State. Shedding light on how the incident occurred, Olanireti, the principal of the secondary division of the school, explained that the abduction occurred about 5-minute drive from the school. And looking at this particular report so far, and having confirmed that the abductors have reached out to the school demanding for a ransom of 100 million naira before the release of their victims. This is quite sad. 5 young people of this Apostolic Faith School being kidnapped, as well as 4 staff members, making it 9 people in total, and they are demanding 100 million naira ransom. Gessie.
When it comes to this issue of security, I think at this point in time we've played with it and we've soiled our clothes with it at this point. They say when you dance with the pigs, you begin to smell and eat the sand, the mud. At this point in time, we have danced and played with this situation, so much so that it's coming to bite us in the butt. We've dealt with this issue for far too long. I think the president and someone needs to do something about this. I know during the Goodluck's administration, we had employed some very, very interesting tactics to solve the situation at the time. I think during the Goodluck's administration, we had individuals from outside the country who were hired to help us fight this crime. I don't know if it's something that we should engage in once again, since these individuals, these kidnappers, have been able to evade the security agencies. They've been able to evade the security agencies time and time again. What else can we do? What else are we overlooking? What stone are we leaving unturned to ensure that lives and properties are protected? Because Simeon, this is a serious issue. It's a serious issue. It could be somebody else close to you next, God forbid it. But these individuals, these monarchs, they're friends and families of individuals, right? They are people, they are family members of some people. They are friends of some people as well. So you can't have a situation where people are losing individuals, not to health related issues. Not to health related issues, not to natural disasters. We're having this issue based off of theft, based off of man-made issues. Simeon, I don't know what else the security agencies can employ in their arsenal, what else they have in their arsenal to employ to help us fight this issue, but clearly we need some help.
You made mention of what happened during the former president's time, where independent contractors were brought in. So if this could actually be an option, I think this should be taken seriously by this administration. El-Rufai online now. Good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Mr. El-Rufai, good morning. I think there's some network issue. Try to connect with him in just a moment, but we're still talking about the abductions at this point in time. We're still talking about it, and we'll get more information. Please stand by. Let's fix that, and then we'll come back in just a moment.
And of course, while we try to get that fixed, let's also move on to still another trending issue. This actually happened yesterday, as it was the big thing in the news. Where it was reported that two traditional monarchs, were reportedly kidnapped, and even killed in Ekiti State. And let's call that particular headline from the Blueprint newspaper, as the police have actually spoken on this particular subject matter. Okay, we have him on the line. Good morning to you, Mr. El-Rufai.
Morning.
Great to have you on the show this morning.
Hello, brother. How are you?
Great. We're glad you sound better. Sure, you're fine now.
Yeah. Still pushing on as well. How are you? How are you?
We're doing good. We missed you.
The weather is really dealing with us here, but we really missed you yesterday.
Oh, okay. I thought I said I would join up, but you guys were like so concerned about my health. But
yes.
And then the soldier on.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Mr. El-Rufai, we're starting with the Ekiti monarch. First of all, this is a very, very serious issue that we're facing here. I think at this point in time, the federal government needs to do a lot more in protecting the lives and properties of Nigerians. What exactly is your take on these two Ekiti monarchs who were killed?
Mary, Gessie, sorry. It's a sad one for our country. See, I'm from the southwest, and in my Yoruba culture, sacrilegious, and it's a sad reminder and a sad affront on our country, and that's why I don't want President Tinubu to play poker with Nigerians on this. He should swing to action. Those perpetrators will be brought to book. Also, children were being kidnapped. And there's another ransom of 100 million naira now.
Yeah, been demanded.
And that's the sad reality of what Nigeria has become. And see, when we keep saying that the president does not have a grasp, or is seeming that he doesn't have a grasp over a situation of things, people say, oh, don't say that and all of that. But apparently it's true. While all of this is happening, the president is seated somewhere in France and on a private visit. And unlike what Mr. Falano has done, he has slammed him by saying the constitution does not provide for a private. You are a sovereign head of another sovereign country. You can't go and just sit down in another country. Which day have you heard Joe Biden come to sit down in Nigeria and say he's on a private visiting quotes? So the president, if he's smart enough, should come back, because people are already feeling the role of what the president should do. Peter Obi is already going there to condone with people and all of that. Where is the presidency? The Nabena incident happened, he came back. The president even spared a thought for them to go and see them. Alright, he keeps sending his vice president. So it's either the vice president or Peter Obi goes to do what the president ought to do. So these are the things we keep talking about. As a president, you have to be on ground every single place, every single where. He has to do better because Nigeria is at the precipice as we speak.
Okay.
Mr. Rufai, there was a situation during Goodluck's administration and Boko Haram where there were conversations of mercenaries who were brought in to help fight against these individuals, these Boko Haram at the time. There were sources that said some of the foreigners are engaging in ground combat and others are flying air missions at the time. Should we be looking at situations? Should we be looking at other solutions to our problems? Because clearly these individuals have evaded and they've continued to evade capture.
So the use of military contractors, I don't want to call them mercenaries, but the use of military contractors does not only date back to now, it dates back to medieval times. In fact, the likes of Wellingtons of this world were huge military contractors that fought wars for nations. Do you know that when you hear bond in the financial market today, the bond market came about because nations then would employ military contractors to fight their war, but they would not be able to pay them. So they would set up what they call war bonds to be able to pay them at a later date. So that's the historical antecedents. But somebody will also see that we should have the capacity to be able to use our own military within prerequisite training. And goes back to the military contractors that were used during Goodluck during the time. The South African military contractors, and when you want to chart the history of military contractors, not today. During the Civil War, the Biafran used a lot of military contractors. Some even fought as soldiers of conscience. They had a lot of Belgian military contractors. I think the guy's name was Cousins or something. They also had something called Comfort Rawson. And on the Nigerian part too, they were, instructors and things like that. But when you look at it, our forces, if properly trained, can also do the work. Because when the South Africans came during Goodluck Jonathan time, guess who they worked with? They worked with Nigerian military. In fact, Strike Force 182, there's a documentary like that on Vice. Vice, an American channel for news, but directed to the younger population. Strike 182 was featured on one of the something on Vice, how they fought the first insurgency war. And most of the guys that they worked with were the Nigerians. All they did was they were able to train them how to shoot, precision missile at all the terrorists and all of that, and all the bandits and insurgents, and to fly the helicopters at a lower rate. But they still use a lot of Nigerian soldiers, and they were very gallant and good at their job. So can we also bring about that support system for them? That's one. Number two, repeatedly, is it that the Nigerian military can actually take these people out, or there's a problem of welfare and most importantly complicity? Because you see, the politicization of our military has also created a lot of damage in all of this. I know asymmetric warfare is very difficult, don't get me wrong, because even the biggest powers, like of America, are forced to a standstill for so many years in the Middle East and they're still fighting. But the question is, what can we do to stem the tide of all of this? And what would be the best approach? So at this point in time, is the best approach. If you bring military contractors again, you have to pay them and all of that. So I don't really think it's the case of military contractors. We can actually get the job done. But the question is our military even united in the first place?
Huge question. And also, let's allude to part of the statement made by Atiku Abubakar as well, which is also making the headlines today. Atiku, I don't know if you saw the post on X where he called out the president, saying Tinubu is playing fiddle while Nigeria is drowning in the ocean. And then he questioned, why the president is even having a private visit to France in the first place. And we've seen, the president's, lash back at Atiku for saying that, making such statements that he's reckless. And this he made through, remark he made through some of his spokesperson as well. So what is it with the back and forth between, the PDP's, former presidential candidate, I beg your pardon, Atiku Abubakar, and the presidency at the moment, still on the issue of insecurity?
I don't think there's any back and forth. Please, can you point out the lie in what Atiku has said in the statement? Please, if you can point out the lie in what Atiku has said. I respect your point of this back and forth. Point out the lie. There's no lie in what Atiku has said. It's pretty much replica of Rome is burning while Nero fiddles. The president is somewhere stuck in a private visit in France while the country is burning. Youths are being kidnapped. All sorts of things are happening. Insurgencies become the order of the day. Pain, strife, avarice. Traditional rulers are killed. We don't have solutions. We just keep hearing the president on top of it and commiserating. The president is not even on ground to condole with people. That's why Peter Obi is taking the position and condoling with people. He's not even showing empathy.
Will you say that he's taking the positions? Because some Nigerians are saying this sounds, a kind of way, seeing some of the movement made by the Labour Party presidential.
But with due respect, nature harbors a vacuum, isn't it?
Very true. Very true.
So nature harbors a vacuum. So if the president is not on ground, or did the president go to visit the Nabena family? Did the president go to visit people that are hurt from incidents all over the country? Did he go to visit them? I mean, if he has not gone and Peter Obi goes to visit them, nature harbors a vacuum. So Obi is showing that he's more presidential as we speak today. And can you blame a man for showing he's more presidential?
Anyway, some
because
say
the president had,
he has the time to do that, as opposed to the president, who has things in his plate.
Simon, withdraw that statement. Withdraw it and apologize to your listeners. He has the time to do that. Why the president has the time to go and frolic in a private visit in France, Abi? Please apologize to your listeners for that statement you just made.
I mean, this is arguments made by some officials of the federal government.
Apologize. The person should apologize to the listeners for that statement. So Obi has the time. Let me tell you something. The truth is, if you truly care, you will make out time. The president has not shown care as regards all of these issues. Obi has shown care. It's not that Obi has the time. Obi has shown care. While the president has the time to go to France, Obi uses his own time. I mean, Obi is a private citizen. He could have gone to stay abroad and enjoy himself. Obi uses his own time to visit people that are bereaved.
Anyway, let me just come in here quickly before we move on from this headline. But I've seen a couple of comments still talking about Obi, that this is the way to play opposition, as opposed to what we've seen, in previous times, where it's more of trading of words on social media, in the media. But this is how to play opposition. You do what you feel the other person is not doing.
But is this not the same people that are opening their mouth to abuse Obi that is doing what presidents do? Now they are saying this is how to play opposition. You see, there's nothing people are going to do are going to satisfy anybody. The truth is, can you solve the problem? Yes. But the president is found wanting in all of this in entirety. I mean, how can people die in a country and you don't even go there? There was a shooting the other day in America. President Obama was there when there was a shooting in the church, and he even led a hymn at the funeral of the victims when President Obama famously sang "Amazing Grace, how sweet." You get?
True.
And that was a cooling and calming effect on the people. The president was there with people in mourning. That was a seminal moment in American history.
Okay.
Something happened. There was an issue of race relations at the time Obama just came in. A police officer went to knock at the door and racially harassed a professor. Obama took it upon himself to invite both men, and they all sat down and they had beer and they had a drink and they settled the matter. That was a seminal moment. Presidents are the father of any nation. When they are found wanting, then you wonder what kind of empathy do they have. Obi is showing that he's the father of a nation that he's not even president of. Where the president is busy having a private visit and enjoying himself in Paris.
All right, we're moving on to another headline this morning, talking about the minimum wage committee that was inaugurated by Shettima, the vice president of Nigeria. He's inaugurated a 37-man tripartite committee on national minimum wage with a mandate to recommend a new national minimum wage for the labor in Nigeria. And at this point in time, we've heard situations. We heard Joe Ajaero yesterday talking about governors. That particular committee is made up of more governors who haven't been able to pay the current minimum wage, 30,000 naira. They occupy the bulk of this 37-man committee. I don't know if this is strategic to ensure that they actually pay the new minimum wage, if they're complaining already that they can't pay the 30,000 naira. What exactly is your take on this in the first place?
I mean, it's a good one and it's a welcome development. On this, I understand the concerns of President Tinubu, and he knows that the country is long overdue for a minimum wage. And I'll tell you something. As at the 1980s, about 40 years ago, when they negotiated the minimum wage, it was, I think, a little over 100 naira. Then that was $100. Today, the minimum wage 40 years ago is higher on dollar terms than what it is today. And with the devaluation even more, do you want to know the minimum wage today? Divide 30,000 divided by 1,500. Do your math. Just go ahead. I want you to do it yourself. 30,000 divided by 1,500.
That's about 20 naira.
So that's $20. So your minimum wage today, your minimum wage today with the devaluation of the currency is just $20. So if somebody is paying minimum wage, $20 times 12, your minimum wage for a year is $240. Do you know how much they pay people that are on benefits, poor kid of society in the Eurozone? It's about $500. So what your minimum cumulative minimum wage for a year, I know it's not a direct comparison with Europe, it's about what they pay people on benefits range in the Eurozone. What you get for a year. So because of the devaluation and everything, there's more than they need for everything and the standard of living. So I'm happy that the president has set up a tripartite committee. The vice president is leading this. And in all fairness, it's the vice president we are seeing. We are not really seeing Tinubu in all of these things. So we have to confess. So in fact, with due respect, Shettima is even performing better than Tinubu himself in terms of optics. So I'm not saying it to come any kata, but it's true. The bombing in Kaduna the other day is the vice president that went there. All these things, at least the seeming level of leadership we are seeing in this administration is the vice president too. He was the one too that went to Davos to make a good showing. It's the vice president we are seeing though. We're not seeing the president though.
Okay.
I'm saying
if we have a situation where the governors ask that 30,000 naira minimum wage, if they were complaining at the time that they couldn't pay 30,000 naira, is it possible that we would see governors willing to pay something higher than that?
Let me add to that too, because Joe Ajaero recently, I don't know if you saw the report where he said even 200,000 naira that was even proposed to the federal government will no longer be enough.
So the truth is that, let me be very honest with you. The governors would not even be able to pay that money because a lot of them can't even pay what's it called. Look at Yaya Bello just left now. Wasn't Yaya Bello pay half salary or quarter salary at the point?
But Mr. El-Rufai, they are able to pay themselves. They are able to pay themselves. They are able to get all the benefits. They are able to get all the other extra things that come with that position. How is it possible that they can't pay 30,000 naira?
But guess it. They can pay themselves, but they are not there to pay you. They are there to pay themselves. That's why they can kill to get into the position. And they feed on your docility as a citizen because you don't ask questions. And the citizens don't ask questions from them. So they feed on that docility. So they are not there to care about the citizens at all. And that's why we keep saying elections matter. You now see why we say elections matter. And people that will just carry talks that will have no human empathy and all of that. You see, one of the greatest attributes of leadership is empathy. If you don't have it, you're not fit to be a leader. If the cry of the other person does not worry you, you're not fit to be a leader. Never. And most of our governors, go and check, they're not fit to be leaders. So they can't pay it because also the states are not viable. Look at the report by the what's it called, the MBS the other time, that most of the states don't even have any foreign investment. How much they made? Oh, both of them that was saying I'm doing all of these great things in Igbo. Go and check. What has the state made in foreign direct investment? Zilch. So the states are not even viable in the first place. And those are the people that keep fighting for resource control. So when you even give them the resource, they can't control it. And those are the problems on ground. But it still goes back to leadership and the electoral system. And that's where when you as a citizen are part of those who are going to collect 50 or 100 naira from these people because they want your election and your vote, and you fall for their shenanigans, then you become the biggest fool in this game. While Buffett is famous for saying that if you get into a game of poker, you see two people play poker, and in the first 20 minutes you don't know who the party is. The party obviously is who is losing the game of poker, and you don't know who the party is. Then you are the party yourself. And a lot of Nigerians in this game of poker are the parties. That's just it.
Mr. Rufai, is there anything legislative-wise that we can do to ensure governors actually pay their salaries? Is there something we can do in terms of lawmaking? That's
the greatest way you can punish this politician is don't vote them in. You know them now. You know who is bad and who is good. Whether is bad, they'll just be dashing you money. That's because they want to cover their tracks. So don't vote them in. Legislature is just oversight. That's just it. They can't really do much.
Okay. Anyway, it's a good one though. I hope Nigerians, become smarter.
Hello.
We pray.
You pray. But quickly, before we let you go, I know you need to go right now. Let's just hear your comment on because earlier you talked about the complicity of some of our security agencies when it comes to the issue of security in the country. And now, talking about complicity, we've seen the report of 2 police inspectors and even a corporal dismissed for robbery. Police officers.
Mr. Rufai.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, I think there's some network issue there.
Hello, Mr.
Rufai.
Okay. Anyway, we just hope network allows us, get this last feeler or last comment from him before he takes a bow this morning. Hello, Mr. Rufai. Are you there? Okay, sorry. We'll try as much as possible. To get across to him, finally, let's get his last. And of course, it's talking about the Ogun State Police Command, which, yesterday, Tuesday, paraded 3 police officers.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
As a wrap up,
the
police are complicit now. You remember the case of Lawrence of
Yes, Lawrence.
Amondo Sumbu, the famous criminal. Was he not police officer? That today, just a reflection of all our country. We just hope for the best and we do the best for our country.
All right.
It is well, my brother.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, and do take care of yourself, Mr. Rufai.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, that was it. Rufai, he told me to withdraw my statement. That my listeners are going to be upset. But be it as it may,
are you upset? Do call us. Let's even know if you're upset about this. Do call us. 0700 010 961 961. That is the number to call to be a part of the conversation this morning. Do go ahead to call us and let's know what you think about that. You can send a WhatsApp message as well to that number 0700 010 961 961. Simeon, we're talking about opinions.
Yes, I said the opinions expressed here is not mine. Okay, they are just opinions expressed by Nigerians on social media. So sometimes what I do
you would have to touchlight some of these opinions and correct them,
amplify them. So they are not mine solely. Before they will tell me, swallow your statements right back. Anyway, remember to join the conversation. We're also live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People. Join the live feed. Drop a comment as well and send us a WhatsApp message or a voice note as well, or call us up via the number 0700 010 961 0700 010961. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, of course, we dig into some of the headlines as we have some things to play for you, especially as regards the insecurity happening in the country at the moment. Stay here.
It's thrilling, controversial, heated, thought-provoking. Catch Rufai Oseni.
Came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal.
Kesire Aqua.
Report was that $9 billion is lost yearly to illegal mining.
And Simeon Sunday.
If you know something of this nature is happening within your community, why didn't you raise an alarm?
On the Front Page Review, weekdays at 7:15 a.m. Now you have a voice.
I'm coming in hot.
Now, you can enjoy the original taste of premium American Romeo's Pizza. Juicy, just the way you like it. To order online from Guarimpa, call 090-8831-5908. Gariki 090-8831-5906. And Lupe 090-9238-9861. Romeo's Pizza, the pizza champions.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
This is Front Page Review. Weekdays at 7:30. Now you have a voice.
Welcome back. This is still Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Simeon Sunday.
Gesera is my name, and you're welcome back to the show. Earlier, we had Rufai Oseni, and we talked a little bit about the abductions in Ekiti State, which included 9 individuals. You're looking at 5 children and 4 staff. of an apostolic faith group school in Imure, Ekiti State, and they've been demanded 100 million naira ransom for the release of the 9 victims who were taken on Monday. And then we also saw 2 monarchs killed at gunpoint by gunmen. This issue of unknown gunmen, we're seeing it rear its ugly head once again. And at this point in time, we just want to get your feel of this conversation, right? We're Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, and we won't be able to do this without your voice. 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. On YouTube,
Voice of the People Abuja. Just go there to the YouTube page. You can subscribe to the page as well, and like every other videos that you see on that particular platform. And remember, you can also drop a comment as we are streaming live at the moment. And now let's get to talk about the insecurity in the country, especially as regards the kidnap of about 9 persons, 5 students, 4 teachers, and 100 million naira ransom being slammed on them. And also we saw the killing of 2 monarchs in Ekiti State yesterday, and that is the election of Eshu in Ekiti was murdered, and also the Onimojo of Imojo in Ekiti State was also killed by this bandits yesterday. And of course, this caused a lot of outrage in Ekiti State. I've seen a couple of videos making the rounds.
Media.
Even some it was reported that this monarchs were coming from a meeting where they had a traditional rulers council meeting, basically to discuss security. And imagine coming back from a meeting where you are discussing security and you are being waylaid on the roads by bandits. Really terrible situation. Some monarch escaped. One of the traditional monarch in Ekiti escaped. Also narrated his ordeal, how it happened, that when they stopped their vehicle, he accosted. He immediately jumped out of the vehicle and found his way. That was how he escaped. Imagine traditional rulers in their royal regalia made to go through this
very sad
ordeal. But yesterday, we saw a member of the House of Reps representing Oye Ikole Federal Constituency. His name is Akinrotimi. In a video which has actually surfaced and has been making a round online, we saw him break down in tears and discussing the abduction of school children, as well as the killing of monarch in Ekiti State. This happened in the parliament yesterday, which was Tuesday. Let's take a listen to him on that particular subject.
Staff to redeploy military personnel to the outpost along the Okeako area to enhance security and forestall a repeat of such acts. The House also directs the Inspector General of Police, the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other security agencies to deploy more men to Ekiti North 1 are fished out and brought to justice. The House also urges the security agencies to put all measures in place to rescue the school children and teachers who were abducted in Emure Ekiti. The House also compels the Ministry of Works and FEMA to immediately rehabilitate the Ayedu to Irele Road and other roads in the House further urges the Chief of Army.
That's about it on that particular conversation. But we also had some women as well, and elderly women in Ikole, that's the LGA of Ekiti State, on Tuesday, lamenting the state of insecurity in Ekiti State. And in a viral video, the woman was seen appealing to a government official who she repeatedly addressed as Your Excellency for help. In the video, which appeared to have been recorded during a condolence visit by the unidentified government official, the woman wondered what will happen to ordinary people if traditional rulers are being killed in the state. Let's take a listen to what she had to say about that.
It's running the town. Excellency, ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ báyìí. Tá mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run àtúnṣìírí wọn. Ṣé mọ̀ pé àwọn tó ti kú, wọ́n ti tún kú báyìí. Ẹ wọ́n gbọ́ pé àwọn ọba Ìkọ̀lé local government tó jókòó ìgbà tó bá ti pa àwọn ọba kí ni ti àwa ìgbà ẹ̀ excellency àwọn òróró wọn ò tiẹ̀ já pálù bí ìpakúpa lọ́ pa àwọn èèyàn wá mo dẹ̀ mọ́ ká ṣeé ṣe fún yín lórúkọ Jésù o ẹ wá láyà dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọdún ẹ má fi wálẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ò ní fi yín lẹ̀ ibi tí bàbá ìpàṣẹdé ó dín kẹ́yìn excellence.
All right, just a rough, transcription of what she said. She said this is where the Baba sat and was instructing people to vote for the APC, and she talked about the fact that it has happened. We know God will expose them. We know that those who are dead are dead. Look at traditional rulers from Ikole local government area that are seated. When they begin to kill kings, what will now become of us?
Very true.
At this point in time, something she said really struck my attention. The fact that he was instructing people to vote for the APC. I mean, it's normal when you have some individuals who have been partisan, even though we are supposed to have traditional rulers who are supposed to be non-partisan, but we have traditional rulers who are partisan now. And after getting to vote your preferred choice into governance, and you're now seeing a decline in your expectations, your hopes and expectations, Simeon, at this point in time, what can Nigerians do if monarchs, if kings are being accosted and killed by some unscrupulous? If you even check, some of these individuals are small fry. Why exactly would they be allowed to run amok, to just cause havoc, wreak havoc in the country? Why then should they be allowed to run helter-skelter at this point in time? We need to do more with our security. We need to do more. The NSA should come out and talk about this. Funny enough, we haven't seen any single statement from the NSA, any single statement as well. We saw the president talking about the fact that he condemned the killing. It's sounding like a broken record, because this is what happened during the Buharis administration, where the president at the time was condemning the killings. Oh, I condemn the killings. I'm directing you to kill this. I'm ordering you to kill these unscrupulous elements. That's where it ends, especially during the Buhari's administration. Can we see another end to this particular situation? Can we see something different? Because we were promised a renewed hope. Is this the renewed hope Nigerians are seeing, or are they getting at this particular point in time?
The question you just raised is similar to, possibly the question the lady in that particular video, raised. What touched me the most was the fact that she said one of the late monarchs that was actually killed yesterday was seated right there in the same, auditorium where she was currently speaking, sitting right there, telling them to vote APC. They should be thumbprinting APC, voting for APC. And it's really ironic that this now happened, or is happening still under the APC watch. And you get to ask yourself, those who voted at the APC, they voted because they felt this administration, or the administration that will be led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will give them some form of respite, will bring succor to them when it comes to insecurity. Because part of the things that bedevil the administration of the predecessors of Tinubu, talking about Goodluck Jonathan and President Muhammadu Buhari, was insecurity. And it was hoped, and I remember when he was at the Chatham House during the campaigning season, he was asked the question, how are you going to deal with insecurity? And then he made a resounding statement that security is even paramount, when he becomes the president of the Federal Republic. And Nigeria, he mentioned certain things he was going to do. And we get to ask ourselves, has he done some of these things he mentioned, at the Chatham House? Some of the campaign promises he made to Nigerians, have we seen it being done by him?
I mean, it's 8 months too early
for
some
us
of
to
these
see
promises.
It is really sad that the same person who was telling everyone in that particular community to vote for the APC has now been befallen by the same vice that befell previous administration and also part of this particular administration. Is quite ironic. and quite sad. And if the president wouldn't do anything, I think with all the abductions that have been happening, not just in the northern region, we heard about the abduction that happened, even the killing that happened in Jos. We've heard about the abduction in Abuja. And now the southwest is now receiving it out as well. It's cutting across all the region of the country. And this has gone to show that this is, a synchronized attack by this element, meaning this is a planned attack. And the government, the security agencies, the military, that's the army, the air force, and the navy, the NSCDC, and the Nigerian police force ought to do all they can to ensure they stop this, growing trend in the country, as this is totally unacceptable.
You also have to ask the questions. Where was Amotekun when this happened? Where was the police when this happened? We understand the constraints of Amotekun, right? We understand that. But we know that they have helped. They have helped in the killings and the kidnappings in the southwest. So what exactly do we need to ensure that the southwest, who has been a bit calm in the past few months, you will attest to the fact that at least we've been seeing a reduction in the killings and kidnappings in the southwest, right? Why then are we seeing it rear its ugly head again? What exactly is going on? Why then are we seeing it rear its ugly head? If the president does not address a very fundamental issue, it is statistically proven that once hunger increases, crime rates go up. Once there's a recession, once there's an inflation, once there's increase in poverty, right, you see crimes like this, the crime rate goes up. Until the president addresses this, we will still be seeing issues like this rearing its ugly head. We're just praying, because at this point in time you can't even trust the police, right? Can we trust them to even keep us safe?
The same police officers that were caught in robbery cases and kidnapping cases in Ogun State. So many things, so many questions as regards security agencies. And in fact, this is the time they need to, have some form of introspection. Do a personal audit within the Nigerian police force. And I'm not even talking about the Nigerian police force alone. Across all security formations in the country, internal personnel audits, find out, fish out those elements, because within the same military, the same army, air force, and navy, we have people feeding information to these bandits. They know where to hit. They know what time to hit, that they won't be even seen or even be attacked by these forces. So there should be an audit internally, so we don't see see cases like this happen again. And away from that, so let's move on to more training headlines making the round this morning. Aside the abduction happening in the country, let's move on and talk about the Nigerian Labour Congress that is now saying that 200,000 naira minimum wage is no longer realistic. This is according to Joe Ajero, who is the leader of that particular union, Congress. The Nigerian Labour Congress said on Tuesday that the 200,000 naira minimum wage it earlier proposed to the federal government was no longer realistic, considering the country's current economic situation. The Congress, which spoke through its national vice president, Tommy Atom, was reacting to Tuesday's inauguration of the minimum wage committee by the vice president Kashim Shettima. Atom, in an exclusive interview with newsmen on Tuesday, emphasized that the Congress would base its national minimum wage negotiation on the current economic reality rather than what it earlier proposed, which was 200,000 naira, as reported by the Punch this morning. So the question is, we've seen the inauguration of the minimum wage committee by the vice president, and of course we all know that the vice president also doubles as the leader or the chairman of the National Economic Council. So basically what the vice president is saddled with at this moment is revamp the economy of the country and also deal with certain issues that has to do with labor forces, anything that has to do with economy and all of that. And part of it is dealing with labor unions. It's a good one that this economic council have been set up by Kashim Shettima, of which the governors are part of that particular committee. But my question, just as you said earlier when we talked to Rufai, is that will we see these governors who have even refused to pay 30,000 naira? Some states have refused to pay the national minimum wage till this particular moment as we speak. And the question is, will they now even pay the 200,000 that was even earlier proposed by the minimum wage council of the Nigerian Labour Congress?
Simeon, 200,000 naira is completely unrealistic at this point in time. If you're looking at the current economic realities of the country, 200,000 naira is completely unrealistic. When you have governors saying they can't even pay 30,000 naira, they are struggling. They are paying it in bits and pieces.
Yeah,
so if you have a situation where you're pegging that at 200,000 naira, I doubt even if the government would even agree to something like that. They wouldn't want to shoot themselves in the foot, because you know that monies are hard to find at this point in time. Either we want to be borrowing to pay salaries, but maybe these negotiations would actually yield something more realistic for the government to even pay, governors themselves to pay as well. Because if you look at it, we're moving away from the federal and ensuring the federal, because I know the federal is set up right in Abuja. You have a situation where government agencies would pay the minimum wage, no questions asked. But the governors themselves, the state government at this point in time, they're the ones that are of concern to a lot of Nigerians, where you have individuals who were struggling to even pay the 18,000 naira minimum wage, the previous minimum wage. Now you're talking about 200,000 naira. Come on, let's be realistic. Yes.
No, the 200,000, labor unions are saying the 200,000 naira was before. That they did not say
now the economic reality is supposed to be higher than the 200,000.
Negotiations they are going to have with the newly inaugurated minimum wage committee, they will propose something higher. That is what they are insinuating at the moment. The question is, will we see that happen? Will state governors pay such amounts? State governors that are still paying 15,000 naira to workers in their states. Is it 200,000 naira, the former one that they will pay, or is it the new one that we are yet to, get the figures as to what they are going to propose or put on the table when they are having the conversation with this committee? Let's be realistic at the end of the day. And quickly, I don't know if you saw this particular report yesterday. Some Nigerians were really agog and excited. Nigerians were really excited about this report when it comes to corruption index or perception index in the country. And the Guardian even has it that, Nigeria ranks 145 on Graft Index, scores 25 out of 100 points. Nigeria ranks 145 on Graft Index, scores 25 out of 100 points. Nigeria is ranked 145th among 180 countries and scored 25 out of 100 points on the 2023 Corruption Perception Index. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, known as CISLAC, and Transparency International made the disclosure yesterday at a press conference in Abuja, and the executive director of CISLAC, Awa Ibrahim Rafsanjani, explained that the Corruption Perception Index sources is data from 8 globally acclaimed organizations, and listed them 8 to include the Bertelsmann Foundation Transformation Index, the Economist Intelligence Unit's country ratings, the Global Insight Country Risk Ratings, the PRS International Country Risk Guide, as well as the Varieties of Democracy Project, the World Bank Country Policy and Institutional Assessment, as well as World Economic Forum Executive Opinion Survey, and lastly, they also sourced this from the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index. And the ranking basically is an improvement, from what we saw in 2022, where Nigeria was, scored, about 150 among 180 nations. Now we've seen us come up. We are no longer 150. We have ranked up a bit. We've moved up to 145 amongst 180 nations, scoring 24 out of available 100 points right now. So looking at this, Nigeria is not the most corrupt country as reports. Most times you hear several media report Nigeria is the most corrupt. We are the most corrupt. So now we know that we are not the most corrupt. We are the 145th most corrupt country out of 80. So in other words, what it means in essence is that we are number 26 in the corruption index.
If your child comes home with this result, Simeon, you have a son, right? If your child comes home with this particular result, at the end of the school year, at the end of paying so much money, right? What will you do to your child?
I would say at least you'd not carry last.
You give him a pat on the
You are
back.
not the worst child.
You're not the worst test.
You can do better. No, you are not worse. At least you can do better. That is what I'll tell him.
Interesting.
I don't have to scold
My
him
father
that
will
much.
flog you. My father will beat you. That the person who carried first, does he have 15 heads? That's the question my father would ask you. You know, at this point in time, right, we seem to always celebrate the bare minimum. When we get the bare minimum, we celebrate Nigeria. Aren't there countries who are the first, second, third, 1 to 100? Do we not have countries there? Why can't Nigeria aspire to be at least among the first 100? Why do we have to aspire to come up from 150 to 145?
We are getting better.
Okay.
That's what it means.
We're hoping and praying that we get better
But
quicker.
looking at that particular
at
report,
a faster
I think
rate.
there's something we ought to highlight here, and is key to our conversation this morning. And according to the executive director of CISLAC, she made mention of certain things that put us up as one of the corrupt countries in the world, and part of it is electoral and judicial issues. Electoral and judicial issues. These were part of the things pointed out as to Nigeria getting that particular ranking. We've seen elections being marred by so many things, irregularities, people beating people up. We've seen videos of people telling them, if it's not this party, don't even bother. We've also seen reports of gates being locked, that people don't even access their polling units as a result of all of this.
And
the last one we saw, a lady's
out.
eyes was almost plucked out as a result of election. And then we see the corruption in the judicial system, where we see different courts giving different judgments, and you get to ask yourself, on what basis? The constitution is clear on certain matters. If the constitution is the basis for the interpretation of certain laws in the country, then let's follow the words in those constitutions. Let our lawyers not use their head knowledge in giving judgment. We'll go to the Supreme Court Court of, just like what we've seen play out in this particular state, where the legislators, Supreme Court said let them come back. Court of Appeal said no, that the process that brought them into play to have the ticket of the party was flawed. In other words, they are not legitimate holders of that particular ticket. And you get to ask yourself, different courts with different judgment handed down. Why won't we be rated 145 out of 180 nations in the world?
Apart from electoral malpractices and all that, we're looking at the anti-graft agencies themselves, whose jobs it is to ensure that there's a corruption clamp down, to ensure that high-profile corruption cases, because Simeon, every